And
Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
something else.
something else, Daddy.
It's Nickel Matan, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to something else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
Welcome to episode number 269 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes in this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and World Class Championship Wrestling from February 16th, 1985. My name is Arya, and joining me as always is the Len Denton to my Tony Anthony. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell are you doing today?
Not too bad. Why do you get to be Tony Anthony?
Okay, would you rather be Tony Anthony and me be Len Denton?
I would.
Joining me as always is the Tony Anthony to my Len Denton. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell are you doing today?
Kim, I'm coming home, baby.
I should have known that was the real reason why you wanted to be Tony Anthony. I mean, who really wants to be Tony Anthony? Not that there's anything wrong with being Tony Anthony. Just,
No, I like Tony Anthony. He's a good worker. And he got a cool song.
Yeah, a cool song he kept with him for like over 10 years.
I admire that a lot.
And if WWE would have ponied up for some real music, T.L. Hopper would have been coming out to that music in 1996.
That would have turned the Monday Night Wars earlier than ended up happening.
Can you imagine though, like if T.L. Hopper came out to that song, if Freddie Joe Floyd came out to Tracy Smothers' song, it's like,
oh,
this doesn't make sense, but for the three people watching who get it, you'll pop for it.
Well, you will be pleased to know that in my pro wrestling sim WCW save, you can put whatever music you want for the wrestlers. So I have in my universe, Ted Turner shelled out for Dirty White Boy.
Not Basketball Highlights number 7.
No, but somebody's got Basketball Highlights number 12, I think.
Okay. Probably even Jericho. All right. So before we dive into this, did you want to say anything about Robert Duvall?
Oh, that put a real damper on the day, man. I love Robert Duvall. Fucking incredible actor. And look, I know like everybody has the fucking Robert Duvall role that means the most to them. And he's been in a lot of incredible shit that I haven't seen. The things that meant the most to me, I will note as an aside that he did play Robert E. Lee in the fucking terrible Gods and Generals film adaptation. Don't hold that against him. It wasn't bad because of him. It was just a fucking terrible movie. It's a prequel to Gettysburg, and Gettysburg is one of my favorite movies of all time. But
all great actors have done a bad movie.
Yeah. My personal favorites are he played Augustus McCrae in the TV miniseries adaptation of Louis L'Amour's Lonesome Dove, and just one of the. It's an amazing book. It's an amazing miniseries. Fucking, it's an all-star cast. Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones are the main characters. They're incredible. And my dad, like, that's my dad's favorite thing ever. So, like, he wore out multiple VHS copies of it when I was growing up. So I have, like, I saw all the pieces a million times over before I finally like sat down as an adult to watch it all and really appreciated it. But goddamn, he was just such an amazing character in that movie. And there's the so many quotes, and the one that always sticks out the most to me is they're having a conversation, and Woodrow called Tommy Lee Jones is the real stoic one, and they're talking about this woman who died, and they're saying, well, she could have died anywhere, and Gus says, "Dang it, Woodrow, it ain't dying I'm talking about, it's living." That's one of the ones that sticks with you. And then I was just watching it today, the scene in the show where Gus dies. He says, "Hot dog, Woodrow, it's been a heck of a party, hasn't it?" Or something, words to that effect. And I thought that was a pretty good epitaph. So that's my personal favorite Robert Duvall role. I also love Secondhand Lions. You ever seen Secondhand Lions?
Not that I remember now.
He's fucking incredible in that movie. But and The Godfather and Apocalypse Now and just a million other roles. Robert Duvall was an amazing actor. He was a national treasure, and he will be terribly missed.
And you mentioned this earlier today when I was having a brain fart. He also was Boo Radley in To Kill a
Yes,
Mockingbird.
yes. Apparently, that was his first film role as Boo Radley.
Um, and of course, I mean, I don't want to spoil things for our listener out there for a 30-year-old wrestling show, but Boo Bradley has a pretty big week this week on Smoky Mountain.
He does. He has new music, and it's fantastic.
Well, new music. He never had music on the
Well,
show before, so
it's new to
he
him.
did. Yes, and it's like it's one of those songs where it's like, yeah, this is definitely the song that Boo Bradley should be
Yeah.
coming out to.
Yes, yes. We'll talk about that on Thursday.
Yes, we will. But let's go to the intro of this week's episode of Mid-South Wrestling. Again, February 16th, 1985. Um, isn't when did the war to settle the score happen? I
It
know it was
was.
February of 85. Was it this week?
It seems like it was in the middle of February. Hold on. Want to settle the score. I hate how Wikipedia now, for some reason, has really arbitrary dates on the fucking Google thing. More just on the inshedification of Google. February 18th, 1985. So yeah, this was these shows aired on a Saturday, and back then the Garden was always on a Monday.
Yep, it was the third Monday of the month for the
Hmm.
longest time. Um, and it's funny because like as a kid, like, and I know this was before you started watching, but I didn't know that Raw was taped. Like they did the thing where they do one live show and between one
Yeah.
and three taped shows and one taping. But they did so many of their tapings out of the Manhattan Center, which even though I didn't know no, but they always told us, oh, it's down the street from Madison Square Garden. So I remember the one episode of Raw where the Quebecers beat the 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty for the tag titles. It was at Madison Square Garden while Raw's happening at the Manhattan Center. I'm like, of course, that makes total sense. Like, there's two different WWF shows happening at the exact same time.
I mean, that did happen on a nightly basis in many cities around the country and the world.
Um, but now back to what we were originally going to do, which was the intro of Mid-South. Let's go to that right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and I'm glad that I'm here for this exciting card. We're going to see the appearance of the Dirty White Boys. Also, Dr. Death Steve Williams brings with him from Oklahoma University the All-American Ed Carr of Boo Thomas. So we'll look forward to his debut. And listen to this, the first ever self-proclaimed Mid-South Best Dressed Man contest, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Ted DiBiase. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me tell you something. A surprise main event, a dream match that you made, and it's a great one. Hacksaw Butch Reed versus Kamala the Ugandan Warrior. Also, the Mid-South Television title on the line, Terry Taylor versus Jake the Snake Roberts. And that's not all. The Mid-South Tag Team titles will be here this week. The Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson versus the Alamo Busters from Mexico City, Chavo and Hector Guerrero. And I'm telling you, I've been in wrestling a long time, Bill Watson. This could be, without mental reservation or secret evasion mind, this could really be one of the greatest wrestling cards ever.
Well, Boyd, let's don't waste any time, and let's listen to the Dirty White Boys by Foreigner again, and then we'll go direct to the ring, and Jim Ross will introduce the first match.
Okay, no. Okay, so when they said that teaming with Dr. Death Steve Williams on this show was going to be Ed Carr, Boo Thomas, I'm sitting here like, what a fucking handle. And then I'm like, okay, Ari, you're a fucking dumbass. They didn't say his name was Ed Carr, Boo Thomas. They said his name was Edgar, Boo Thomas. Edgar, Edgar. Like, how fucking stupid are you, Arya? We'll find out in a second just how stupid Arya is and is not.
We will.
But this is another one of those weeks where like we have a lot of fucking big matches on the show. You know?
Yeah. Boyd was excited. Boyd doesn't usually get that excited, except for that the clip that's in the intro where he's just clapping and cutting up. That's great. I need to find that episode. I think that was before I started.
Wasn't that when Cornette went into the cake?
Was it?
You know, when you're talking about when he's clapping and hitting the
desk,
was it?
Right? Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's when Cornette went into the cake. I put the clip up on YouTube. I'll have to hunt that down.
I'll have to watch it again. You might be right. Probably right.
We'll get to it later, but I love that they call up the first ever self-proclaimed Mid-South Stress Man contest.
I was so fucking irritated by that. It's not self-proclaimed, but they're doing a fucking fan vote.
See, I was going to make a joke about that, but was that your trigger? You mentioned to me earlier that there was something that bugged you. Was that what it was?
Was that the only thing that bugged me? I had an experience watching these two shows.
You really did, and to be honest, like I was expecting to hate World Class because like just reading your synopsis of it as you were watching, I'm like, man, this is gonna be one shitty show, and maybe you'll turn me by the time we get through that episode. But it's like it's because I had such a low bar going into it.
I had a low bar going into it. I hated about 12 minutes of World Class, which is low for me in World Class.
But you were also talking about Johnny Mantell, so I went thinking, oh god, we're gonna get a fucking 15-minute Johnny Mantell match. And
no, that was just a thought that I had while something else was happening.
You had a thought while doing this show? Interesting. So a surprise main event. Butch Reed versus the Ugandan warrior Kamala. Fuck the fucking dream match contest. They apparently, I guess, found more ballots from the dream match contest, so we got this match too.
Yeah, we're gonna. Geopolitical Bill Watts' evil brother showed up this week. We're gonna have to talk about that.
So we go to the ring for our first match, and they do a thing where they're zoomed in on Jim Ross, and we know it's gonna be the Dirty White Boys in their debut. But JR is like, this match is scheduled for one fall. And walking behind him, I'm like, is that fucking Horner? And sure enough, the Dirty White Boys' first match in Mid-South is against Tim Horner and Shawn Michaels. And of course, the Dirty White Boys are Tony Anthony, who is, of course, the Dirty White Boy in Smoky Mountain, and Len Denton, the former grappler. And as I mentioned last week, I thought it was funny because they were the grapplers about 18 months ago on this show, and they went away unmasked and came back as Dirty White Boys.
Yeah, well, technically speaking, he is still a grappler. He did grapple in this match.
He did. By the way, so they noted that JR had a nifty blazer with the Mid-South logo on it. Was this the first time he's worn that? Because I could swear I've seen that before.
Bill talked them up like they were new.
Russell, what's with companies? And like everyone like associates that with the WWF, with the blazers, with the company logo on it. Every fucking company did that. Why?
Because it's the logo. It represents the company.
I guess. Um, but so Len Denton ran Horner's head right into Tony Anthony, which was a neat little spot. Shawn Michaels was randomly wearing a shamrock on his ass, as Bill compared this to a German blitzkrieg, which is probably a different blitzkrieg than the one who showed up in WCW rings for 5 minutes in 1999.
No, but
And
the
finally,
source of the name is the same.
I assume so. Um, it's WCW, so they got in as much, Nazi and World War II talk as possible.
You know what
Um,
Blitzkrieg means?
Please educate the audience.
Lightning War.
It is an interesting name, but it's just it's associated with
It's
the
it's
Nazis. Yeah.
it is the strategy that the German army used in the opening moves of World War II. Yes.
And anyway, Len Denton pinned Shawn Michaels with a Samoan drop because Len Denton apparently selfish and did not just want to win the match with their team move. He had to use his own individual move.
The Union Russian leg sweep is pretty cool. I don't think I've seen anybody else do that before.
So we get the replay of the Jim Duggan Doc match from last week where Duggan slammed Doc's arm onto the turnbuckle. And we go to Jim Ross in a pre-taped interview with Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first opportunity that Steve Dr. Death Williams has had to see this footage that you have just seen with us. The doctors have told him that he has a stress fracture in this arm. You've got this arm pad here. What are your feelings now in this situation?
Well, Jim Ross, I hate Jim Duggan. I despise the man. He tried to put me out of my career, out of professional wrestling. Well, you know something? I went to the doctors and I asked them, I need something. I need something to protect that. And they talked about we talked about this forearm pad, something that I used in college. Jim Ross, check that out.
It looks like a legal pad to me.
You know something, Jim? If I wasn't so tough, he could have broke my arm. But you know something? Like I've been in every weight room across the United States. As it says, no pain, no gain. You don't wrestle, you don't get paid. And Jim Duggan, I despise you. I'm coming after you.
Remember Paul Heyman used to tell the story that TNN didn't want them saying the word hate on their show?
Yes.
It was like intense dislike was the word that they preferred. What do you think Bill Watts would have done had he gotten that one from a television network?
I would love to have seen it. You heard there's a story of Bill just pissing out of the window of CNN Towers. He might have pissed into a window somewhere.
So Jim Ross was allowed to check Doc's forearm pad there. And hey, if you have any complaints about what happens on the rest of this show, Jim Ross did approve of that forearm pad.
God damn it, Jim Ross, you had one job.
Yep. Jake the Snake Roberts should take this up with Jim Ross. But we go to the match. Now, as we mentioned earlier, they mentioned that Dr. Destiny Williams was going to come in with his friend Ed Carr Boo Thomas. And I'm like, Arya, you're a fucking dumbass. His name is not Ed Carr Boo Thomas. Dr. Destiny Williams teamed with Ed Carr Boo Thomas versus the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Champion Mike Jackson and Mark Cooper. And while his name was not Ed Carr, like I thought when they were saying it, it's Ed Carr, like Edgar with a C instead of a G. I did not look him up, but I'm assuming that is that man's real name.
Because who the hell sits so.
Yeah. Yeah. Who sits there and thinks, man, I need a name for wrestling? Ed Carr.
Yeah, like Watt said, another OU wrestler, a friend of Doc's. But did you ever watch Hangin' with Mr. Cooper?
I loved Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, that was a great show. His name was Mark Cooper, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But I believe that was Mark. Wasn't it Mark with a C?
Maybe.
Maybe I'm just making that up. But by the way, Holly Robinson, Pete, no notes. Just,
And Mark Cooper was a great jobber. Just fucking pale and plain no definition at all. Looked like a fucking high school shop teacher. Like, it was almost perfect, except that he had proper professional looking gear and it ruined the illusion.
Now, everyone talks about how tough Dr. Death Steve Williams is, and Bill talked about how tough Ed Carr was. But hey, out of everybody in this match, Mike Jackson wrestled on Impact this past weekend. Ed Carr did not wrestle on Impact this past weekend. Dr. Death certainly did not wrestle on Impact last weekend, but Mike Jackson did. Maybe he's the real toughest guy in wrestling.
He should have been the Alabama X Division champion.
Well, if that was the case, then Mance Warner would be the champion now.
Yeah, because then it wouldn't be about weight limits.
Actually, it was the Alabama X Division champion. Mike Jackson would have lost that belt so long ago. Mance Warner would have no idea what it was.
So if you search for Ed Carr Thomas, it comes up with a completely different guy named something like Edgar Thomas. But if you search Ed Carr Boo Thomas, the only thing that really comes up is IMDb, and he has 2 credits, and they are 6 episodes of Mid-South Wrestling and 1 episode of World Class Championship Wrestling from 1985.
So we're going to see the entire career of Ed Carr Boo Thomas this year. By the way, Doc muscled up Cooper and won with the Oklahoma Stampede.
Indeed he did.
All right. So I'm just going to read to you my notes for the next segment. Ted DiBiase versus Jim Duggan in the self-proclaimed Best Dressed Man contest. Is it really self-proclaimed when the audience is voting? But let's go to the intro of the segment here with Jim Ross.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for the Best Dressed Man in Mid-South contest that will be judged by the fans. Ted DiBiase issued a challenge to Hacksaw Jim Duggan about who was the best dressed man in Mid-South. Well, we're going to decide that right here today. The last time I saw you dressed up, you were carrying a cane. Obviously, this isn't a cane. What is the reason for this baseball bat?
Well, Jim Ross, as you know, a few weeks ago when Jim Duggan came out here to show off his new cufflinks in his fancy clothes, he also carried with him, concealed in a flower box, a steel pipe. Real classy, right? Well, to make a long story short, I don't trust Duggan. I don't trust him as far as I can see him or throw him. So bring Duggan on out here, and if he wants to pull something out of his trick bag again, I've got something right here, and I'm not hiding it from him or anybody else. Now, wait a minute. If you want to search Duggan, the 3 of you officials search Duggan thoroughly. If he's clean, I'll give you the bat. Let him come on the ring. I'm not afraid to face him one-on-one. We're not here to fight. We're here to let these people pick who's the classiest guy, who's the best dressed in Mid-South.
All right, gentlemen. I feel like that's a fair enough situation. Hacksaw Duggan is searched. You're going to relinquish the baseball bat to one of our referees then.
So, hey, Ted DiBiase, honorable person. Maybe the last time we ever get to say that. But, he's out here carrying his bat for purely protection reasons. And he's going to give it up if Jim Duggan is unarmed.
That is what he said. Can I go on a tangent? I have more information on Ed Carr Thomas.
Of course, please.
So if Cage Match is correct, this was his second match. His first match was 2 nights before this taping in New Orleans, a singles match against one Shawn Michaels. You imagine, I would like to go back in time and be there with Watts watching that match behind the curtain and be like, hey, Bill, which of these 2 guys do you think is going to be the bigger star in the business? What do you think he'd say? Well,
see, that's a good question. Just because they've been every so often when Shawn's wrestling, they will put him over a bit. Not that they ever bury their jobbers, but they don't really talk them up a lot. while they do talk up Shawn a decent amount. So I think Bill is smart enough to know that there's a lot of talent in Shawn. Like, I don't think he thinks Shawn's going to become a world champion one day because he's a small fucking guy. But I think, like, he's probably looking at Shawn thinking, oh, he could be a good mid-level guy here.
Yeah, I think everybody knew that Shawn was good, probably pretty much immediately. I just saw it, the person that Edgar Thomas teams with in his world-class appearance.
It's Johnny Mantell, isn't it?
It's so much worse than Johnny Mantell.
Kelly Kiniski?
It's worse than Kelly Kiniski.
I don't want to say Horner, but I'm thinking you're leading me to think Horner.
So the name that we are going to see this person under in World Class and Mid South coming up soon is Thor, as in the Asgardian god of thunder. And I didn't know who Thor was, so I clicked his cage match. It's fucking Nailz.
Are you sure it's that Kevin Kelly and not former New Japan announcer Kevin Kelly?
No, it's Nailz, also known as Convict Prisoner Kevin Kelly, Mr. Magnificent, Kevin the Magnificent, etc. 1.62 cage match rating. That's a little high.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised it was that high.
I need to give Edgar Thomas a cage match rating. He has 0 votes.
The first time, do you remember the first time you ever heard Nailz' voice without the voice distortion gimmick?
No, I don't even know that I probably have. I can't think of Nailz' voice.
There was a video on YouTube, and I'd have to search for it to see if it's still there. But it's like you hear it and you're like, oh my God. Like that. I was afraid of Nailz as a child because of how badly he beat up the Big Boss Man. I would not have been afraid of the man that voice came out of.
One more note on Ed Card, Boo Thomas before we move on. There is a clip on YouTube that I have to watch the second we are done recording. The Grappler, when Hercules Hernandez beat the shit out of Ed Card, Boo Thomas in Mid-South Wrestling.
Wouldn't that be something coming up?
I'm sure it will be, but I guess I want to hear Lyndon tell the story about it.
Oh, so I didn't know where the grappler part came from. So it is in fact, like a maybe not a podcast,
a clip,
but
it's a clip from a grappler shoot interview.
Oh, okay, all right then. We may have to pull that up so when that match eventually happens, we can play the clip along.
Yes.
All right. So by the way, back to the self-proclaimed best dressed man contest. I did maybe okay. I guess Duggan was probably walking out, but I thought, hey, DiBiase's kissing up to the crowd a little bit here, which is smart in a a contest where you're picking the best dressed man by the audience vote. So Duggan was clean, and DiBiase gave Randy Anderson the bat, and I joked that bat might weigh more than Randy Anderson does. Now, I don't want to put too fine of a point on this, but it's very 1980s black hat, white hat. Literally, Ted DiBiase is wearing a black tuxedo, and Jim Duggan's wearing a white tuxedo. And now, before anyone thinks, hey, they shelled out money for some extra threads, it's the same tuxedos they wore a few weeks ago. And DiBiase had his frilly dicky and all that fun stuff.
Okay, I think I've actually. You never watched the Dukes of Hazzard, right?
I watched it. I wasn't like a regular viewer, but or anything like that. So
okay, so did you ever see this episode? As you know, and the listener may or may not know, the main villain on the Dukes of Hazzard was Boss Hogg, played by Sorrel Book, and he was a big fat man. His name was Jefferson Davis Hogg, and he always wore a Snow White 3-piece suit. And then there was one episode that you find out that he has a good twin brother. He's the evil twin. He has a good twin brother who wears a black tuxedo, and his name is Abraham Lincoln Hogg. And yes, Sorrel Book plays both roles. It's fucking like one of the best Dukes of Hazzard episodes, probably.
I like that they got the black hat, white hat thing reversed, and it somehow makes total sense.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's why I was inspired to bring it up.
I just popped for the names.
Yes.
Now, in the interest of fairness, when they went to the crowd, DiBiase did get booed. However, did you notice there was a smattering of cheers? There was some unbiased fans in the crowd there.
And he looked very well. Looked very handsome, very dapper.
I do think that even if it was an unbiased, contest, I think Duggan would have just won just purely based on the fact that it's Jim Duggan in a tuxedo. If you polish up a turd, it looks better than something that's already pretty refined.
Do you think that the injustice of this, of entering into a fan vote competition in good faith?
Oh my God. Why do I think I know where you're going with this?
Do you think that's why Ted turned out like Ted did?
You think he robbed the state of Mississippi because the state of Louisiana didn't vote for him in the best dressed man contest?
I do. I believe that with all of my heart.
I wonder if it's too late for him and Junior and Brett Favre to use that as a defense.
Oh, I think the bus may have left that depot.
Your Honor, I'd like to submit into evidence the self-proclaimed best dressed man contest. I think Ted might be going for the insanity plea here.
Every girl crazy about a sharp-dressed man.
So Duggan wins, and Ted DiBiase has a problem with that. Let's go now back to the ring with Ted DiBiase and Jim Ross.
I've been ripped off again. I can't believe this.
Why do you say you're ripped off? The people cheered. It was as fair as it could be. The people made
this. It's another rip-off. It's another conspiracy by Mid-South. I guarantee you, all these people out here cheering for this baboon over here, they got to be handpicked. I guarantee you, Duggan went out and collected every fan he's got in Mid-South. Well, just look at him. There ain't no classy people in that crowd. I tell you what I want, and I demand a rematch. I demand a rematch. This has been a rigged-up deal as far as I'm concerned. I'll tell you what. I want a rematch next week right here, and I want it electronically monitored. That means electronic applause monitor put on the crowd. A machine can't lie. It judges the highest level of cheers, and I guarantee you I'll win. I demand it.
Well, demand what you wish. Right now, Hacksaw Duggan.
It's typical Ted DiBiase, always out here crying when things don't go your way, just like the Athlete of the Year award. I just wanted to prove one point. You can't just dress up in fancy clothes and come down and say you have class. You don't buy class off a rack, DiBiase. It's what's inside that counts. Let me tell you something, Duggan. You put the monitor on here next week. There's no way that anybody in their unbiased mind could pick a baboon in a suit like you over a classy guy like me. We'll find out. Electronically monitored or not, it makes no difference to me. These are my people, and they're pulling for me, and I don't care how they do it, Jimbo. I'll win any way he wants to do it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, whether we have it next week or not, it's up to Mid-South. Right?
Okay. So, I don't know. So, to combat the fact that the biased fans cheered for Jim Duggan, he wants electronic monitoring to see who the fans are cheering for.
Yeah, that'll help.
Like this, like it would be better if they just said, okay, we're gonna pick some random people out of the crowd, and Duggan's like, oh yeah, DiBiase, you can pick whoever you want because I know who they'll pick, and it's like that Triple H Scott Steiner pose down thing where Triple H picked out 5 guys to pick him in a pose down over Scott Steiner.
Yeah, not smart, these heels.
For the record, I might be the only person to ever compare the first ever Mid-South Sharp Dressed Man contest, the self-proclaimed, Best Dressed Man contest, to the homoerotic storyline of Triple H and Scott Steiner. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I remember a couple of fucking terrible matches.
But the whole build to the Royal Rumble, we really should have been tipped off that whole thing was going to suck. Where it's like every week Triple H and Scott Steiner would have some kind of pose down or whatever, and it was like, what the fuck is the point of this?
What was the match? It was one of them. I can't remember which one that you could see Scott's purple thong sticking up out of his tights.
Scott Steiner's WWE run was not very good.
It was not.
Leave it at that.
It was just pretty bad.
My favorite is always like the Lance Storm story that he told, where they'd given up on Scotty, and like I think it was Lance that came up to him before a house show and said, get what you can out of him. The office has given up. If you can only do 30 seconds, only do 30 seconds. And if you can let him catch one on you, that'd be great.
Yeah, that sounds like that sounds like that.
This guy really sucks, and we want you to lose to him.
That very much sounds like the experience of a Lance Storm in WWE.
And I remember the story that him and Christian were debating over who was getting buried worse, and there was I think it was an episode of Raw where Scott Steiner beat them both in consecutive singles matches.
They're even.
Yes. Oh God. So yeah, Ted DiBiase, Jim Duggan. We're gonna have the second ever Mid-South self-proclaimed Best Dressed Man contest next week.
Or overdoing the gimmick.
Yes. Maybe the week after we're gonna have the third ever Mid-South self-proclaimed Best Dressed Man contest.
What'll the gimmick be then? Are we gonna? Maybe.
That's when.
Go ahead.
So that's when Terry Taylor comes out to be the judge.
You know, it would have been a lot simpler if DiBiase had just declared himself the best dressed man and not done any of this nonsense.
And who knows, this is probably what's going to happen next week. Or DiBiase gets mad and he goes after Duggan. Duggan stops him and rips his suit off.
Well, that would have to lead to some kind of violent stipulation match, I thought. Maybe they could even fight in the tuxedos.
Oh, what, do you think they're Harvey Whippleman and Howard Finkel? I like that my bar for tuxedo matches is Harvey Whippleman and Howard Finkel.
Do you remember the one the tuxedo / evening gown match that they did with Howard Finkel and Lillian Garcia?
For some reason, I don't remember watching it, but I know it happened.
It did indeed happen.
It was to determine the ring announcer of Raw.
Yeah.
And, like, the whole world wanted the Fink to win for more than one reason. And, of course, Lillian won.
Poor Fink.
Maybe if the Fink would have had the Bushwhackers in his corner.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe it's Harvey's fault because he had Timothy Well and Stephen Dunn. They are the team of Well Done in his corner.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Butch Reed versus Kamala with General Skandor Akbar and Friday in the Dream Match. Fuck the Dream Match.
Look.
Why did they even have to bring that up? Like, the Dream Match is over. Why did they have to say, oh, by the way, we found another Dream Match? Which, I mean, if we went back and went over what all the Dream Matches were, like, why would anybody have voted for Butch Reed versus Kamala?
Look, I don't want to hear the word dream on this show again unless Dusty Rhodes or Troy Graham is coming in.
I was about to say, what if the Dream Machine? But you slipped them in there.
I did.
All right. So Butch Reed walked out while Kamala's theme song was playing, which, Butch, you're supposed to wait for your music to play. Did you notice that Reed was wearing face paint?
I did eventually. I didn't at first.
Yeah.
And then at that point, when I realized it was when a new character on the show, not a new character, but he's never been named. He's been mentioned. You've heard of geopolitical Bill Watts. Welcome, not racist Bill Watts. Said that Butch Reed had gone back to his roots and that this was going to be a savage confrontation.
He was putting over Kamala so strongly. I'm like, is Kamala in the main event of the Superdome show? Like, and I know it's not. It's DiBiase and Duggan. But it's like, man, he was really putting Kamala over strong here. Which, not to say he shouldn't put Kamala over strong, but like, Kamala's been in the fucking territory now for 3 years. He's over as strong as he's going to be over.
Yeah, look, I've said before, Kamala brawling is awesome. The nerve holds are fucking boring. But I have an idea to make them interesting. Now, this is a fucking terrible idea, and I do not endorse it despite it being my idea. Do you understand? This is not a good idea. This is a fucking terrible idea. This is fucking stupid. Have not racist Bill Watts explain that these cannibals like Kamala, they use these nerve holds in close quarters combat to subdue their prey.
The funny thing is, like, has it ever really been said that Kamala's a cannibal? Like, we know he's a cannibal, but has it ever really been said, though?
I have no idea.
And that's always like the funniest thing to me. I was like, everyone kind of knows he's supposed to be a cannibal, but they've never actually said that. So because it's a dream match, and also because Kamala's involved, and like, I don't know if Kamala's ever done a job other than that match against The Undertaker at Survivor Series, but Kamala just doesn't do jobs. And he certainly did do one here as Akbar and Friday get in the ring for the disqualification. And Watts, as he's losing his voice, screams, "It's Ghetto style now!" And outrun, in order, Buddy Landell, Iceman Parsons, Sheik Hercules Hernandez, Terry Taylor, and Dr. Steve Williams all ran in for a big battle royal. And Bill Watts was orgasming in excitement over at the announce desk. Like, Jesus Christ, you've never heard an announcer be this excited than when Vince McMahon watched the WBF. Damn it, pal. Look at the striations of Gary Stridham. But yeah.
Stridham, I don't even know him.
But I actually forgot that half these people were even in there. I just wrote it down as they were running out. I'm like, oh yeah, Iceman was out there. Hercules was out there. And Doc maneuvered his arm brace around and knocked out both Butch Reed and Terry Taylor with it. Kamala then went up top for a splash, and Bill Watts screamed that if he does that, he'll kill Butch Reed. Hasn't he done the fucking top rope splash on this territory before? Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, but like, I feel like he's done it before, and he did not murder anybody with it.
Well, he didn't do it to Butch Reed. Maybe Butch Reed is specifically susceptible to it.
He's more sensitive to a 400-pound man diving down onto him.
Yes.
Okay. By the way, now that I'm old, it really like hits me just like how like Kamala running around with no knee pads. Like, good God, dude! Like, your knees must have been fucked up.
Yeah, I agree with Cheeseburger. Anybody who wrestles without knee pads is a psychopath.
What do you think weighed more, Cheeseburger or that bat from earlier in the show?
Was it like a full wooden bat, or was it one of those hollow metal bats?
Well, it was an aluminum bat.
I think Cheeseburger might A cheeseburger with a rock in his pocket might have weighed. I love cheeseburger. I'm just picking.
How about Cheeseburger or Randy Anderson?
No, you know what? Cheeseburger, Randy Anderson, and Mark Curtis. Let's have a self-proclaimed wrestling skinniest man contest.
Big up Mark Curtis. Big up Randy Anderson. Randy Anderson's dead too. Oh God, welcome to something else, ladies and gentlemen, the ADHD Wrestling Podcast, and how people don't listen to this show is beyond me.
How the one
Anyway,
person listens to it is beyond me.
Jim Duggan ran in and saved Butch Reed's life, running in with a 2x4.
Yeah, Hacksaw's got to watch out for hacksaws.
Yep. I had to laugh because I mentioned that Bill Watts was losing his voice, was getting raspy. We come back from commercial. Watts talks about how he's losing his voice, and he doesn't shut up. Because he wouldn't be Bill Watts if he actually shut up, would he?
No, he's very determined.
And I'm really sad now that Joel, and they've got like 2 sets of announcers nowadays, because I want Bill to be here next week and try to do commentary with, his rapidly losing voice.
Was this the first show of the taping or the second one?
I'm pretty sure it's the first because they say in a few segments that in 2 weeks, Gino Hernandez and Kerry Von Erich will be here.
Oh, see, I thought they said next week.
No, I know they said something for next week, and I can't find my note for it. But yeah, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Jake Roberts was scheduled to challenge Terry Taylor, who was a bitch, a stooge, and a D-Gens, for the TV title. However, as you may have heard us say in passing, Dr. Death knocked out Terry Taylor in the prior segment. So let's go to Jim Ross in the ring, who's got an announcement about our next match.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is scheduled to be for the Mid-South Television title. I understand from referee Ronnie West that Terry Taylor will be unable to wrestle this match after what you've just seen. What happened?
You're wrong. You're very wrong. I signed to wrestle him. You go up there and you bring him down here. It's a championship match. You cannot back out of that. You go get it.
I'll wrestle you, big boy. I'll wrestle you. You want a match? I'll wrestle you right now.
I signed to wrestle Terry Taylor, you see. That's the championship, Brad. That's something you don't know a whole lot about. I want Terry Taylor down here.
Terry Taylor's injured.
I didn't sign to wrestle him.
Hey, I'll wrestle you right now, Porter. I'm ready, willing, and able.
When I asked for a championship match and I waited on it, I finally got it today. And now you're going to come down here and tell me you're going to take his place? Let me explain one little thing to you. You are open hand material to me. You're not near as good as your washed up father, punk.
I like that Jake is like, Brad doesn't know what it's like to be a champion. Even Jake has forgotten that Brad was the North American champion a month ago.
I had the exact same thought. Very, very silly Jake Roberts take.
By the way, I just remembered you said to me on Facebook that you had a bad idea to share, or a terrible idea to share. Have we covered that?
Yeah, we went over that in the Kamala match.
Just making sure you didn't have another one.
Have you already forgotten?
No, I remembered, but like I wanted to make sure that there wasn't something else that you wanted to bring up. Okay, so we're informed that Terry Taylor can't wrestle. And by the way, this is the part that I thought that you were perturbed at, because my thought is Terry Taylor can't wrestle, then Jake Roberts should be the new champion. He should win by a forfeit.
It's almost like Grizzly Smith has some kind of grudge against Jake Roberts.
Jake said that Brad wasn't as good as his dad, so Brad slapped him. Brad should have said, and you're not as good at sexually assaulting children as your dad.
Okay, that's worse. That's worse than my idea about the cannibal nerve holds.
Can you imagine? This show would not have made it to air if Brad would have said that. Oh God. So Jake slithered out of the ring and went to the back, and we are not gonna get our TV title match this week, which I call shenanigans on. Now, with that said, like I'm kind of looking forward to Jake versus Brad Armstrong. That seems like a fun little match there.
It does.
Yeah. Okay. So we go to commercial, and they tell us that up next is going to be the Rock and Roll Express versus the Alamo Busters for the tag team titles with 2 referees. And I'm like, didn't I already fucking see this? Like, am I imagining shit here?
No, you were not.
And I guess I should have went back to see who the 2 referees were. The 2 referees were Carl Fergie and Ronnie West in this match. Weren't they the referees the first time?
I would have to look, but probably.
Oh, God. So yeah, tag team champions Rock and Roll Express versus the Alamo Busters, Chavo and Hector Guerrero, with 2 referees. And this is where we're told that 2 weeks from today, Gino Hernandez and Kerry Von Erich will be here. Maybe we can skip World Class this week since we'll have our World Class fix. And this is where they announced that next week, the one event announced for next week is the Best Dressed Man rematch.
Exciting.
Now we're informed that they attempted to get a Mexican referee, but they did not have access to a Mexican referee. So we have 2 gringos in stripes.
I mean, I don't think they tried.
Well, I guess they didn't specifically say they tried, but to me, mentioning it says that okay, they may have at least tried to.
I don't believe them.
So, by the way, what do you think would be a better name for this week's show? Gringos in Stripes, or It's Ghetto Style Now?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that one.
Okay, we'll see here. But was I misreading your thoughts on this? But you seem to not like this match very much.
It was a fucking mess. First, this is the point I noted, and I noticed it earlier, but it got really bad during the intros here. The master tape was in bad shape this week.
It was,
a lot of tracking issues.
The remastered version, and you heard it especially in the intro, like we were going up and down with the audio at different points. And
so my complaint is that they keep doing, they've done it twice, and it keeps making shit more convoluted, which could be a good thing, like if they bothered to explain it, because it invalidates a frequent talking point of why don't you just have 2 referees? Because we've tried it and it fucking makes shit more convoluted. But I don't know. I don't have confidence that they will make the effort. It could be something. But as far as this was just multiple ref bumps, both refs counting falls regardless of who was legal. This was a fucking mess. It wasn't good. I'm not sure if it being not good by design makes it better or not. And then on top of all that, we got another fucking non-finish. This is stupid.
I didn't have the problem with the non-finish, because they did the expiration of time limit draw, and it's like they had 10 minutes. It's not like these expiration of time matches that start 4 minutes before the show ends. You're like, yeah, we're going to get a finish here, kind of thing. But it's like they had a good amount of time to have a match. My issue with the 2 referees, because don't get me wrong, I am not defending it. It really wasn't that good. But my issue with the 2 referees was just that when you have 2 referees, you can't really have a good tag match, because a good tag match, the heels got to cheat a little bit. The heels got to do something to get the heat, But you couldn't really do that because you constantly had Carl Fergie running in going, nope, 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 you can't do that. You know, he would channel the inner hockey referee here and yell,
You can't do that.
and, it just, I don't know, just like it's the reason why you don't have two referees in a fake sport like this. It's like you need to be able to have some cheating. You need to be able to do shit behind the referee's back. And, but it's like, I thought the match itself, especially when we got to the finish, until, okay, man, I'm defending this and putting it down at the same time. The two ref bumps thing was stupid, no doubt. But it's like, when they got to the finish, I thought it was pretty hot when you were getting all the near falls. You were getting, one big thing after another. The Guerreros were going for their big moves. The Rock and Rolls were going for pins. And I did note that they're not even attempting to keep track of who's supposed to be legal in this match, because one of the referees were counting Robert, I think, on Chavo. The other kept trying to count Ricky on Hector, and neither of them seemed to care one or the other. I think, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think it might be leading to some kind of, I don't know if false kind of would be the right way, but like more like all four men are in the ring at the same time, and you have the two referees, where it's like everybody's legal at once kind of thing, like a no DQ match.
So
you know what I mean? It's like,
a tornado match.
Yeah, more or less.
We have a word for that.
I figured there had to have been, but it's like, I don't know why I was just blanking on it. But I didn't dislike this as much as you did, but there was a lot of obvious issues with it.
Yeah, I didn't care for it.
Now, to make things even worse, and I know this broke Trey's heart more than anything else, during the show they kept telling us that we're going to see the best Joel Watts music video he's ever put together. And unfortunately, these damn Guerreros and these damn Rock and Roll Expresses, they couldn't get their match done in time so we could see the best music video ever.
Just did one disappointment layered on top of another.
Yeah. But, yeah. I was actually thinking about this because, like, we were talking yesterday, I think it was, and you mentioned that you're surprised Jim Cornette never did the 60-minute match on an episode of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And we're like, did they ever even go through a commercial break? And we don't think they have. But Mid-South, who rarely does it, they did do it here this week where they did the match that went 2 segments.
They did indeed, and I thought of that too, because we had just thought of that, and I was like, oh, wait, that was the other show.
Yeah. So I enjoyed the show. It really also shows you the talent that they have, that it's like, we didn't have every person in Mid-South on the show this week, and it was still a good show. And I think that's the one thing that Bill Dundee has really done a good job with booking, because, remember back when Ernie Ladd was the booker, Junkyard Dog was on every fucking show, and then when Bill Dundee came in, it's like, okay, how can we get somebody else over if the overarching hero was on every fucking show? And Bill Dundee's done a good job of that, being like, okay, we don't have to have, well, I mean, he was, but we don't have to have Terry Taylor wrestle on every show. We don't have to have, Buddy Landell on every show, etc. We can hold them off a week and make it a bigger deal next week when they're on, kind of thing.
Well, with the way that Memphis ran on a skeleton crew so much of the time, Dundee probably thought this was an embarrassment of riches.
Imagine Dundee on World Class. He'd have 14 people, but, Oh, God. Well, before we go to World Class, we want to take a quick advertising break. Let's go to one of our new advertisers here on the show.
मैं हूँ ग्रेट खालिद WWE सुपरस्टार जो आपने बाय करना है अभी बाय करो ये देखो 70 नंबर वाला ये कोबरा थैंक डेवो Daniel Bryan yes 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 yeah famous raw man like cookie John Cena. You can see me. What? You can see the shop.com पर देख सकते हो जॉन सीना को अभी बाय करो आप.
Do I need to put hashtag sponsored content on this video?
Like, let's look back at the high.
That's now. Everyone go out there and do what the great Cully just said to do.
I heard him say Daniel Bryan, and I would like some Daniel Bryan.
Did you ever see that video? Like
I
of the
don't
great
remember.
Cully shilling for WWEshop.com.
Maybe, I don't remember. I had no idea. Arya did not tell me that he was going to play that.
I rarely tell Trey anything I'm planning on doing on this show. But it was like, fuck, it was well over 10 years ago at this point. It was when, like, every week on Raw, like leading up to Christmas, they would have one of the wrestlers shill WWEshop.com. It was like around the same time they did the DX skit with the Elimination Chamber where Shawn lost his mind, which was so hilarious that I can't find it anymore. But anyway, Great Khali did this, and he's like, he's very Great Khali. Like, this is one of those times where the video made that better. Like, it was funny, but it wasn't as funny as the video was. Because it's like he had like the doll of Sheamus, and they had no idea who the fuck it was, and he's just staring at it. It's like eventually realized it. And when he said Daniel Bryan, if I remember right, he's pointing to a shirt of the Shield. And Daniel Bryan was a lot of things, but he was not in the Shield.
He was not, but that's hilarious. I am Stooge.
I'm Stooge. Oh God! Let's now go to the intro of World Class this week.
Welcome to World Class Championship Wrestling, the major league of professional wrestling, seen from coast to coast and around the world. And in our main event, World Class Championship Wrestling presents the American Heavyweight Champion Kerry Von Erich and former World Heavyweight Champion as he defends his American crown against the challenger, the gentleman from England, Chris Adams. Adams and the Von Erichs in their continuing dramatic feud. And in addition, on World Class Championship Wrestling, you'll see the Texas Heavyweight Champion Gino Hernandez and the Fantastics. And coming up next, a wild and exciting interview with Billy Haynes and Rip Oliver. Next on World Class Championship Wrestling.
Now, since we're acknowledging that World Class and Mid-South kind of exist in the same universe, does this mean that as American Heavyweight Champion, Kerry Von Erich is a top contender to Ted DiBiase's North American Heavyweight Championship?
Well, we know that it goes from top to bottom. The Texas Heavyweight Championship, the American Heavyweight Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, but we don't know where the North American Championship fits into that.
Well, since we're going from smallest to biggest, it's probably less important than the American title.
I don't know. This is from a Texas perspective, and I don't even know if that means Texas know what North America is.
If you, this is going to be mean, but hey, it's Texas. If you went out there right now and just talked to 100 random people in Texas, do you think they could tell you what North America was?
Some of them.
I'm like picturing your neighbors wearing cowboy hats and chewing on straw.
I don't live in that part of Texas.
I've yet to see you posting a picture of yourself in a flannel shirt tucked into jeans with a big ass belt buckle.
I'm too fat for a big ass belt buckle.
Remember the story in Nick Foley's book where Owen Hart was talking to the production guy, and obviously he must have been doing some sort of voice, and he made the guy think he was the promoter, and he's like, "Yeah, come down here. I'll hit you with my big ass belt buckle over your head."
There was a movie. I think it was that movie Sisters with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, They're like at the grocery store. They're arguing with some woman, and she has a big ass belt buckle. And one of them goes, "Congratulations on your wrestling championship."
I love Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
You know, uh, well, we're gonna go now to a wild and exciting interview with Bill Haynes' man perm, along with Rip Oliver and Sunshine.
Like I told you, I'm no stranger to Rip Oliver. He's crippled many men. He's a tough man. I'll challenge the TV belt because, hey, look it, I'm no better than anybody else. I'm just making a living in professional wrestling, and I appreciate all your support. That's all I can say.
All right. Tell you, boy, this is my time. I've got an important match with Mr. Kerry Von Erich. So if you don't mind, why don't you get on out of here and stay out of my business? This is my time out here, boy. So you get on back there where you belong and be here next Monday night, and I'll show you what a champion is all about.
Let's take it easy here on this interview.
All right. So I don't know what the hell Rip Oliver hit Billy Jack Haynes with here, but he made him bleed. He made him bleed his own blood, even.
Well, that's the worst way to bleed.
Yeah. And is this the first time on the syndicated show that they ever mentioned the TV title?
No, they have mentioned it, and I think we might have seen like I think we might have seen like a title match clip from Fort Worth before, but yeah, I don't. It's such a mystery. Maybe I don't know. Who can we ask? There's got to be somebody who has some insight as to why the TV title was exclusive to the Fort Worth show,
and why it seems to just not exist on the syndicated show. Who knows?
By the way, so apparently you wouldn't know this from watching this segment, even though it was mentioned, because I believe Billy Jack said that he was challenging for the title. He was the champion.
Well, I can one up that. Billy Haynes has left the territory.
Yeah, he's gone, and Billy Jack and Rip Oliver came from Portland together. And yeah, they were going to work together. They knew each other, and then Billy's gone, and Rip is staying for a bit at least.
Yeah, Bill got in his car and made it back to Portland. Sunshine cannot keep a guy, can she?
Yeah, but we are told that, and we don't see it on the show, but we are told that Rip is now managed by Jim Cornette.
Yes. But we're told we'll find out about that next week, even though like he tells us about it while telling us that we'll find out about it next week. Oh, God.
When Rip hit Billy Jack, they also bumped Sunshine, and Billy kind of accidentally elbowed her in the chest face area. And then Rip just he crippled another one.
What did he hit him with? I've now watched it twice, and it's like he kind of does like an upward double sledge, and I'm assuming he had something in his hands.
I didn't even notice. I just assumed he hit him, and then it was a awkward thing, and he got on top of him.
He hit him in the face, and it made his head explode in blood.
His own blood.
And here I thought Hercules hitting him with the chain to make him bleed at WrestleMania 3 was a big deal. Little did I know, all you have to do is kind of hit Billy Haynes in the head, and he starts bleeding.
A lot of scar tissue usually reopened.
Maybe we should alert the guards at the jail that he's at.
That he bleeds easily? Oh, they probably know.
Yes. Oh, God. So we then go to Texas champion Gino Hernandez versus Tim Horner. Why happening? Now this is where, because in my head, I remember you saying, like to really piss you off, they booked Johnny Mantell versus Tim Horner. I'm like, please tell me that Gino Hernandez does not do a 10-minute time limit draw with Tim Horner. And nothing against Tim Horner. We've talked about it. He's a pretty good little wrestler, but like, no. And hey, Gino won. Gino won in an appropriate amount of time.
Yeah, and this was good. This was good. Gino was great, and as we've always said, Horner is a good wrestler. It was just I just had the thought of seeing Horner in the territory that one of these days we're gonna get a fucking 15-minute draw between Tim Horner and Johnny Mantell, and that might be the day that I do the Von Erich thing.
I ain't gonna do the Von Erich thing. Don't do that.
Do we have that on the drop board? We need that on the drop board.
One second.
I got 15 women running around on me. IRS up my rear end, son. I got all kinds of problems, but I'm going to guarantee you, son, I ain't going to do the Von Erich thing. You know what I'm talking? No, I'm not. But
That's what it is like that. Like if you go back and watch that, is so out of nowhere because it's the episode where they make the 3-team match for Bluegrass Brawl, and it's like this is their only appearance, and like they don't even talk about it. He just talks about not doing the Von Erich thing.
You know, I just happened upon today because I was listening to some Cornette clips on YouTube, and just like the one that it suggested to me after I finished one was from like 4 or 5 years ago when it was on controversial Smoky Mountain promos, and I could tell from the image that. So yeah, I'll have to send that to you after the show.
If it's the one, I think I have seen it before.
Okay.
But you know, you can always send it. It may not have been, it may have been a different one. But by the way, Gino wins with a side Russian leg sweep, and it's like I'm not going to disparage Gino Hernandez. He is the handsome half breed from Highland Park, but that was not a very good Russian leg sweep. Like Tim Horner should be embarrassed that he lost to that Russian leg sweep.
Tim Horner should be embarrassed for a lot of reasons.
Not the least of which he's Tim Horner. I think it's possible that Horner just started teaming with Brad, so this way he could learn how to take that move and not lose. And I realized after I said that it makes it sound like Brad's a jobber. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, Brad could teach it to him so he could build up a tolerance for the side Russian leg sweep.
Well, he's going to have a hard time if he goes up against the Dirty White Boys again and he gets hit with the double Russian leg sweep.
Yeah. Well, then we go to our next match, the Fantastic, who I started writing were the American Tag Team Champions, but they're not. The Midnight Express are, versus Kelly Kiniski and Rip Oliver. And I had to laugh because before the commercial, Bill Mercer said, this is the same Rip Oliver from earlier. I'm like, I would not have assumed there were more than one Rip Oliver in the territory if he wouldn't have said that. Although there were multiple Barbarians, John Nord and
Bob Marion.
What's his name? And Bob Marion, the ball bearing. Now, the Fantastics were sexually assaulted walking to the ring. There's no better way to put that.
I don't want to blame the victim, but you don't come out dressed like that and not. I'm kidding, everybody.
Oh, we're gonna get canceled again. I say again,
for this show in particular.
Yes, this is like the closest to our most G-rated episode ever. It's gonna get us canceled. But during the Fantastics 5-minute sexual assault moment, Bill Mercer dropped the news that they're in the planning stages for the second annual David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions.
Well, they better start planning it.
Yes. And a spoiler alert, it's in May, so now would be a good time to start planning a giant Texas Stadium show. Now, you kind of warned me that this was going to happen, and I'd kind of blocked it in my mind until I saw it. Mercer called Tommy Rogers' partner Bobby Gentry.
He did it once. And you and I had different experiences with this. Because I know who Bobby Gentry is, and you didn't.
I did not know who Bobby Gentry was. I just, especially after he said it a second time, I'm like, okay, Bobby Gentry is somebody. And so I Googled it, and she was a female singer, emphasis on the word female, who became famous in 1967 with her hit song "Ode to Billy Joe."
Have you ever heard that song?
I didn't click it to listen to it, but like maybe
it's a song that everybody should listen to once. And her other major hit is called "Fancy," and a lot of people are more likely to know that song from the Reba McEntire cover. That's very famous.
Tito's sister can really belt one out.
Yeah, yeah. But Bobby Gentry is a female country music star in the 1960s. I can only assume that in the car on the way to the Sportatorium that day, Bill Mercer was just singing "Fancy" with his whole chest. That he had Bobby Gentry in his head, and poor Bobby Fulton got forgotten.
I mean, she is a beautiful woman.
She is,
or
yeah.
at the very least was. I mean, she's 83 years old. She's still alive, by the way, which I don't know why that surprised me, but she is in fact still alive. And she was in fact a very beautiful woman. And the funny thing was, like I said, it didn't even just happen once or twice. He called Bobby Fulton Bobby Gentry the entire match. Now, there is that part of me that goes, well, maybe he realized his mistake, but figured he was in too deep at this point to go back. But, yeah.
Nah, just start calling the guy the right fucking name. It's not that hard.
Do you remember a few weeks ago when I purposely called Oliver the Rippler Crip Oliver? Well, Mercer called him. Yeah, Mercer called him the Ripper. Let's just say this was not Bill Mercer's best match.
I made a. We'll get to it.
So Kiniski almost pinned Gentry with a trip, not a leg sweep, not a leg trip. He almost pinned Bobby Gentry after a trip from the outside, which, by the way, would not have been the first time in the last few weeks I saw a wrestler get pinned after a trip. But Rogers broke it up, and the four-way led to an almost immediate double disqualification. And I got to tell you this, I think Rick Hazard had to take a piss or something, because I think he called for the bell way too soon. Like, I did not see him motioning that he was doing a 5 count.
I hate these long fucking dull matches with no finish. Listen, you can give me a match with no finish, or you can give me a fucking dull match, but don't make them the same match.
It's funny because, like the Guerrero's match, I did not dislike this match. I don't know. Because, again, I came into this with a low bar, so I think I enjoyed it more than I thought I would because I had your low bar going into it.
I think I might have been in a mood at this point.
Quite possibly. I mean, hell, you watched all 3 shows back to back to back, more or less.
Yeah, I try to do that on Monday just to have it done.
Not everyone is Arya watching it like 5 minutes before the show starts.
Well, I have been many, many times. It's just I've been trying to organize my life a little better, so I have certain days that I try to target certain tasks.
It's good. Next week, we're told that Mike Von Erich and the returning Brian Adias will take on the Midnight Express. And I guess this is the first. I don't know if this is the first time I saw their name written out on the show, or at least the first time I noticed it. Did you see how they spelled Midnight Express?
Yes. It was neither part was correct.
Midnitexpress.
You remember when fucking Cornette had the X press on the tennis racket and Bill Mercer just didn't get it? Couldn't figure it out.
Maybe he should have, since that's apparently the spelling of their name.
Oh, yeah, apparently now.
All right. So speaking of Brian Adias, Let's now go to what is called a promo with Brian Adias.
Well, speaking of Brian Adias, he is back. And Kerry, let's just say welcome home.
That's right. Hey, Brian, from me to you, I love you. And just a welcome back to Dallas. Bill, Brian has been going all over this whole world. He's been gone now a year and a half, 2 years, going all over the world, fighting top contenders all over the world. And as you know, Brian and I grew up all the way ever since we were in first grade, 6 years old. We got pictures of fishing, catching the biggest catfish Dallas and in Texas has ever seen. And we grew up together, and we just have just done everything together. And Brian, just welcome home.
Thank you,
brother.
man. I tell you what, I appreciate it, Kerry. Just like you said, I've been going around. I've been wrestling top competition everywhere I go. I've been from California to Maine, and I've been from Washington to Florida. I've got a lot of bridge under the water. And when Brian Adias comes to town and he says he's getting something to
I hate to interrupt, but there's something I've got to say.
Well,
I just got here. I'm sorry, man. I swear I am. I just got here, and from what I understood, everyone here has seen the tape where Rip Oliver deliberately put Billy out of the wrestling business. Now, from what I understand, this crippler Rip Oliver signed with that wimp Jim Cornette, and I'll tell you what, that's fine with me. That's just fine, because I'm going to put both of you on my list with Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams, because I will find the man to get rid of you, all of you. And man, I'm sorry.
Do you know Brian Adias, Sunshine?
Hey, that's okay.
You know, Brian,
you can interrupt me anytime. Yeah, I've
Hey,
never.
this is Sunshine. Sunshine,
Hi.
this is Brian
How you doing?
Dennis.
You look prettier than I remember you looking last time. Very good. Hey, you can interrupt me anytime. And what you're talking about right here, you're having trouble with a couple people. Anytime you need some help, you can count me on your side. And I know you can count the Von Erichs on your side. So anytime you need some help, okay?
Well, that kind of left me out. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very
And good luck.
Okay. So they go to what's called a Brian Adias promo, and Kerry starts talking, and I'm like, oh, geez, Kerry, good job taking Brian Adias' promo time. And then Brian starts talking, and I'm like, can Kerry cut him off now and start talking some more?
I don't want to cast any aspersions, but I believe that Kerry might have been enjoying the chemically altered life.
Oh, God. And I don't know if that makes you a better promo. Then I hope Brian, takes some chemicals to help him out here. When he starts talking about how he has a lot of bridge under the water, that's when I'm like, okay, can we get Kerry to interrupt him now?
For some reason, this rang a little bell in my head because I was thinking about how gross it was that they have Kerry on TV fucking slurring his words like that. So I went to Wikipedia to look up the history of the Observer Most Disgusting Promotional Tactic Award. And boy, are we in for it, because World Class has that award sewn up for the next 4 years.
Oh, God, really? I cannot even imagine I know Fritz's heart attack is definitely one of them, but what are the other, what are the other victories?
So 1985, and it's funny enough, 1984 is Blackjack Mulligan fake heart attack from Florida. 1985 is usage of Mike Von Erich's near death to sell tickets.
That's coming.
Yeah. 86, comparing Chris Adams' blindness angle to the death of Gino Hernandez. 87, exploitation of the death of Mike Von Erich. And 88 is Fritz's fake heart attack.
I always forget about that part because Gino blinds Chris Adams right before he dies. And poor Bill Mercer has to go on TV. And it's like, we had 2 tragedies this past week. The death of Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams flying home to England to try to regain his sight.
The same man who told Lee Harvey Oswald that he had been charged with murdering the president.
And it's like, I don't know, is there a way to get out of that? Like, is there a way, like the last thing we saw of this guy is he blinded one of the wrestlers. Do you pretend that didn't happen? Like, that's kind of where it's like, okay, how do you get around it? Like, do you just keep Adams off TV for a month and then do the Chris Adams has gone home to England to reclaim his sight kind of thing?
Yes, do that. That would have been, do that.
By the way, did you notice that Kerry called him Brian Adidas with the extra D in there, like he's a pair of sneakers?
That was not the biggest problem with Kerry in that promo.
So from here we go to our main event, which is the American champion Kerry Von Erich versus Christopher Adam with Uncle Gary Hart. And regardless of what Drunk Mark Lawrence says, Chris Adams' last name does in fact have a plural in there. I have to laugh because I think I called him Christopher Adams at one point to be a smartass, and here's Drunk Mark Lawrence calling him Christopher Adam. Like, thanks, DML. At one point, I thought Mercer said that Chris Adams had an arse full of weapons, but it turns out he said arsenal, not arseful. Not that I'm complaining too much, but I was wondering where the hell David Manning Von Erich was this week because he was nowhere to be seen. And I'm like, well, I guess Chris is getting a fair shot at the title here this week because Bronco Lubitsch was the referee.
And it was fair and square.
So Kerry went for the Iron Claw, and to me, it just looked like he was trying to put his hand down Chris Adams' pants. And I was just a little because, like, to me, like the Iron Claw was always the claw to the head, but it's like more or less anywhere they administer the claw, it's the Iron Claw. It was like half the time to go for the stomach, half the time to go for the head. It's possible Kerry was so fucked up he thought he was going for the head and clutched the stomach.
Do you remember from Mick Foley's second book his account of his match with Val Venus at No Mercy 1999?
Was it actually No Mercy? Like, I remember he talked about it, but I thought it was a house show that he talked about where he grabbed Val's penis.
Oh, but I just assumed it was the No Mercy match, but yeah, that was the when Val had stolen Mr. Rocco and Mick accidentally grabbed Val's Mr. Kako.
Yes. Because like I could be wrong because I haven't read the book in a while, but I believe Mick said that they had a microphone and somehow he said it into the microphone. Like, oops, sorry, Val.
Maybe that was creative license.
Possibly, much like how Bischoff was not in fact a homo.
Well, Terry Funk didn't call Bischoff a homo.
So what you're saying is we can up. Oh, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Scratch that. All right. So Kerry kept going to go for his finisher. So I think Kerry here is spamming finishers here in 1985.
Kerry hit the tornado punch. He's hitting finishers you don't even have yet.
Mercer called a shoulder block a shoulder butt. And it made me wonder, why does the head butt but the shoulder block?
You know, that's a fascinating linguistic question.
So towards the finish, Kerry covered Chris. And this was weird because they were in the ropes and Chris's leg was already on the ropes and Bronco Lubitsch did not see it. So Gary Hart jogged around to the other side of the ring and violently pulled Chris's leg further onto the ropes and yelled it out. So that broke it up at least. Kerry then gets out to the ring and chases Gary. They end up on the apron. The referee gets distracted and Gary thwacked Kerry with his boot behind the referee's back. And then Chris won with a super kick. And Chris is your new American heavyweight champion, Christopher Adam.
This was great. It was a good match, great finish. The match, so that opening flurry, Chris immediately hit Kerry with an enziguri that, like, it kind of rocked him in kayfabe, I assume. But that kind of set the tone for the match with, you know, Kerry being rattled. And then despite whatever he may or may not have consumed prior to the match, Kerry looked tremendous here. Like, Chris is one of the guys who really makes Kerry shine. And this was just, the finish was, it was a complex finish, but it was, everybody hit their shit perfect. And yeah, this was, kudos to all involved.
I thought, suspiciously, I thought there was no one-man gang here. I was fully expecting Gang to get involved somehow, but he didn't.
That is a tad sus, as the kids say.
Is that what the kids are saying these days?
That's what I hear.
So that was World Class, a show that both was better and worse than expected. You know?
Yeah.
So apparently there's been a crate that has been delivered to Adam Pearce on Raw. And for some reason, this crate, it's a very large crate, it's larger than Adam Pearce, says do not open until February 28th, which is the day of the Elimination Chamber show. And Adam Pearce told the delivery person to take it to Nick Aldis on SmackDown and let him deal with it. Who delivers, if this is a shoot, who delivers a package and says do not open until, unless it's like Christmas. And even then, that's just part of the, the joy of the holiday kind of thing. Like, Trey, if I mailed you something, I'd tell you to open it immediately, not hold until 2/28.
All we know is whoever comes out of that box is going to be fucking over.
Hopefully it's not The Rock's egg.
Maybe we probably get some resolution about that.
Well, Austin Theory had stolen the egg, and it was Theory, right, that stole the egg, got a title shot out of it?
I remember. I didn't watch that. I remember Austin Theory being involved because apparently Vince just fucking loved Austin Theory for whatever reason.
He took a selfie with Vince and the egg, and I remember Sami Zayn was somehow involved in that too, because that was the lead up to the Sami Zayn bloodline storyline.
Yeah.
It's funny, like I don't want to say I ever liked Austin Theory, but I never disliked Austin Theory. I thought that he was definitely I don't say he got buried in the transition, but you could definitely tell that when Hunter took over, he was not one of Hunter's guys, so he was essentially punished for it.
I have not seen him all that much because by the time he started in Evolve, I wasn't watching Evolve anymore. By the time he started in NXT, I wasn't watching NXT anymore, and so forth and so on. Seen him a little bit, just as sprinkling on the main roster. When I watched for a few weeks leading to WrestleMania
39
2 years ago, yeah, he and fucking Australian guy, Grayson Waller. They were a good tag team act.
A Town Down Under.
Yeah, that was a good team. I thought what little bit I saw.
And the year before was when he beat John Cena at WrestleMania.
I remember that, and that was a fucking nothing match.
I mean, John Cena had a lot of nothing matches, like during that period of he comes back once a year to have a match period. So it's like I don't even blame Austin Theory for that. That's like John Cena was purely phoning it in. And I think it was weird because Cena, that was the show, Cena came out with a bunch of sick children. And I was like, well, John Cena is not losing on a show where he comes out with sick children. And then John Cena lost after he came out with sick children.
What if he won on a dusty finish and they made him give the belt back in front of the children?
Or what if he had one of the children give the belt back?
Oh, yeah.
That was the WrestleMania. It's like the shows were booked very similarly, and I guess they did that a lot with those 2-night manias too, where it's like both shows began with the who the hell booked this match because the one night was Cena versus Theory, and the next night was Brock Lesnar versus Almost.
One of the greatest signs in the history of signs, it was on some Raw some number of years ago, and it just said who booked this crap, but the who had 3 H's.
I do not quite remember that one, but yeah. Oh God. I gotta say, Brock Lesnar versus Almost, like, for what it's worth, it was kind of a fun little match. It was not a WrestleMania match. It was a fun little match. And then, did you see that this year, at least currently, the plan is for Brock Lesnar versus LA Knight? And it's not against LA Knight. I am not casting aspersions at LA Knight. Just that is one random ass fucking match.
That is a match with wrestlers in it.
Oh God. Wow, we have actually gone almost 2 hours.
Yay.
Was there something else you wanted to talk about? Like, I feel like there was something else you mentioned, and now I can't think of it. Oh, there was. We'll talk about it on Thursday, I guess.
Yeah, we'll be back.
We're never going away because even after Smoky Mountain ends, even after Mid South ends, even after World Class ends, we're not going anywhere. You know, our listener will be entertained forever. Oh, by the way, I meant to mention this during the Mid South show. Terry Taylor is fucking all over TNA tomorrow because it's an episode that after they fired Mike Tenay, so Scott Hudson does the play-by-play. And so I'm like, well, the heels are in charge. Goldilocks is the heel. They'll have Goldilocks do the backstage interviews again. And nope, not even the heels wanted Goldilocks doing the backstage interviews. They had Terry Taylor, who was a bitch, a stooge, and a D-Gens, do the backstage interviews.
And apparently got a glass jaw and can't even defend his fucking TV title if he gets hit with a clothesline.
Yep. And I had to laugh because Scott Hudson is doing commentary for the whole 2 hours, and he has fewer on cameras than he normally does when he's doing backstage promos. But anyway, that's a podcast for another day. But that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.